is a flesh of fire. On his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself.
He does have to be in shape, and by that I don't mean that he has to have like the rock hard abs and be looking like the Rock. No, but for me, I feel like it does come down to health as well. Like, it's not just about the way the person looks, but if they're healthy with it. Like, someone can be big and they can also be healthy, so it just depends on obviously how they are and how they decide to live. Yeah.
Do you feel like you're healthy?
Yeah. Might not look it, but I am.
Listen, y'all could like the jokes and whatever, boop, 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 all you want, but listen, like me personally, I'm not a big female. I'm just thick. So it is what it is. Like, I don't got no big stomach. I got...
you?
Who, me?
Yes.
5'3".
And how much do you weigh?
180.
That's obese. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. And listen, I ain't doing nothing. I ain't doing nothing to fix it. I'm still eating.
And you can continue to eat.
And listen, I ain't doing nothing. I ain't doing nothing to fix it. I'm still eating.
And you can continue to eat.
And listen, I ain't doing nothing. I ain't doing nothing to fix it. I'm still eating.
And that's you is that the reality is that men prefer not to be with obese.
That's really crazy.
I can't tell.
I'm a foot taller than you.
It's not about that. It's about when men have options, typically they go with women that are not obese.
Do you have a girlfriend? Okay,
but most guys that have options don't. So.
Oh yeah, that's a lie. Boom. I live here. I live here every day.
Okay, chat.
I don't go nowhere without nobody.
If you're saying it's a lie,
men having sex with you versus men committing to are two different things.
You ain't seen me naked. Exactly.
It's going. Moving on.
We're do what? Be honest. That's the truth.
I mean, that's not honest though. Men like. Yeah. I mean, in my world and where I come from.
That's the problem.
I'm from Detroit. We all think.
No, but like for real, there's men that only wanna like be with big bitches.
And those are typically lower status men that don't have options. Man, I'm a 6'3" man and I weigh 200 pounds. You're 5'3" and 180. That's crazy. That's wild.
Yeah, but I don't want no man that can pick me up anyway. Yeah, but I don't want no man that can pick me up anyway. Yeah, but I don't want no man that can pick me up anyway.
Honestly, she has a fat ass, so a lot of the weight is on her ass. So.
Because who's rating me a 2? Specifically, men who are broke, men who can't afford a woman like me, a high standard, high value woman like me. So they really don't have an opinion on this matter. I'm a 10 out of 10 because I am. This person says the market gives you your value, not yourself. Okay, so who is the market though? Because if you're talking about the busted broke boys in my comments, they wouldn't even get a chance with me. So their vote doesn't count because I don't want them. Like, why would I care what they rate? Six-figure men,
your market crashed.
Men that I date, that have taken me out on dates, that have treated me like a queen, a princess, they're going to rate me a 10 out of 10. And that's why they're taking me out, spending money on me, and taking good care of your girl, because they have a voice. They have an opinion on this. They have a vote. Someone who couldn't even afford a McDonald's date, even though I wouldn't go on a McDonald's date, why would you have a vote? I have a McDonald's date, even though I wouldn't go on a McDonald's date. Why would you have a vote? I have this
look
one
like
guy
a bag of Mickey D's.
Take one look at me and beg to take me on a first date.
Nation that they can't build wider aisles in airplanes 2023. This is what this model said when she struggled to walk on the airplane aisle because they were too narrow.
All the praises and the honor goes to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rachaha Kodash, and double honors to the elder apostles and even the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to you brethren, you fellow believers of this faith, even you few sisters, and shalom to the elect. I want to touch on this video, kind of a raw commentary of the delusion of Babylon. Now, these women, these Eves, are just as an example of why I'm going into this lesson. Because honestly, us Jakes, so-called men, you know, I'm speaking because you got brothers who's coming to the truth. If we had this, at least a portion of level of this confidence which we should have, because there's righteous confidence. And then there's, in this example, unrighteous confidence, right? Or narcissism, pride, and lack of humility, and various other things you can list on the table. Okay, so we've gone from a society where Jake was the prize. Now Eve has become the prize. You can blame a lot of this on the black conscious community, who's uplifted the queen and says she's the first woman to ever step on the planet. We all come from her, and she's the woman of the earth. You can thank these guys for that, right? But they don't understand something that is natural has been taken away. So now you see the example of what something unnatural has done to our people. And it seems like we're the only women, us, talking about so-called blacks, natives, mostly so-called blacks, seem to be the only women. We tend to have the only women, which are not technically our women now, but as a species, that behaves in a manner that they're queens, that they believe there's something more than what they are. We'll get some Bible verses as well, but this is not good. But for the elect's sake, this is what the scriptures say. Women shall compass the men, which that's a twofold thing, but we can clearly see why the Lord said, I will make man more precious than fine gold, right? So you can see the mentality of other Jake and how Jake is broken down will give these Eves the opportunity to stand up and believe that there's somebody greater than what the hell they are. Now, before I go further in the lesson, there's going to be some thicker women. There's women who like thicker men, So not saying that, everybody should have some form of cardio aerobic activity anyway, for yourself, for your health, because that is an important part. You should be doing that, taking care of yourself to a degree. But when for whatever reason, society doesn't see you as the prize, and you lift yourself up as the prize, and then the women around you, right, they co-sign for it, so they're not helping you. So it seems like Eve has bound together, even in wickedness, to stir up strife against Jake. So you see a gender war happening, right? Even though them Eve secretly inside, they don't believe the crap that woman is saying, but for the sake of coming against that Jake, they will do that, right? So it's a thing called humility. Some men do like thicker women. There's nothing wrong with that. Heavier set woman. But when you get so goddamn big that you can't walk down an airplane aisle, you know what I'm saying? And they're the only ones get those kind of excuses. But when a Jake is big, a Jake is heavier, there's no, excuses for that. There's nobody saying great things and the men sitting up there saying, hey, I'm just a little big boned and I'm this and I'm that. There's no women accepting that. But for whatever reason, they must be accepted because we're in the Queen of Heaven. Anyway, let's go to 1 Samuel, the second chapter. I just wanted to make a short commentary because this place is fully delusional. It says, talk no more, 2 Samuel 2 and 3, talk no more so exceedingly proudly. Let not arrogancy come out of your mouth, right? For the Lord is a God of knowledge, and him actions are weighed. So, this is going to the prayers of Hannah as well, right? When it says the Lord killeth, Lord maketh alive. These are things that we learn from. This is an example of why we shouldn't be out there fighting Palestinians as they're walking down the street, because we have some form of pride on us because we know that we're the children of Israel, right? There was times that we knew we were the children of Israel and got our asses handed to us on platters, right? Because of pride. Okay, so we shouldn't be behaving like that. So I'm just using this as an example, you know, because at once upon a time, if a woman knew that, you know, if a man was the prize, she had to make sure she had her shape ready and had herself together. But for whatever reason, it flipped, and then she become the prize, and now they're wearing all this madness that they're wearing, and men with their tongues dragging down on the ground is lifted them up in pride, right? And now they're chasing them, so now they're claiming that they're the prize. It's totally backwards. But for whatever reason, you get in a relationship with them, then all of a sudden it goes back to traditional. But they don't do a damn thing that's traditional. You're supposed to hold the door, you're supposed to fix the car, you're supposed to fix the stove or whatever it is. But for them to do what they're supposed to do that's so-called traditional, they don't have it. So again, this is the narcissism, this society, and its wickedness. Let's look up this word narcissism. It says an extremely self-centered person who has an exaggerated sense of self-importance. So when things don't go right for them, this woman, you heard this woman say, I can't quote everything she said, but in my world, a lot of thick men like me. So what the hell is a lot of men liking you for? When you really think about it, according to the scriptures, you got a lot of men liking you because you laying down with a lot of them, right? You're supposed to have one goddamn man. If this man was so great and they all like, why the hell you ain't with that man? So in their mindset, heaping to themselves a bunch of men, right, in this narcissistic mindset is making them feel like the queens. This is the danger of calling them queens, which when you look at the etymology of queen, you can look that up for yourself and see exactly what that means. Let's go to Romans 12. Let me go back to 1 Samuel. Go on. It says, the bowels of the mighty men are broken, and they stumble and are girded with strength. Right? So the Lord is the one lift you up. The Lord is the one bring you down. Right? You shouldn't be walking around with an overly sense of pride. Confidence you can have in this world. It's like me going around saying, I am the elect. You know? I will never say that. I will say hopefully elect. And other groups have a problem with us saying that too. Anyway, Romans 12:3. For I say thou the grace given, and these are examples, you know, to help us. You know, there's been some Jake in the truth that they can quote scriptures back and forth, front and back. And it's, you know, quite a few brothers who can do that, you know. And sometimes you have to be able to take a step back because you can get lifted up in pride. You know, you start believing you know all the scriptures and you know all the breakdowns. And we've seen guys like this. This is why I had to step back in humility, because you see a lot of guys like this, the ones that's pulling them superfly scriptures and breakdowns, they become the bug outs for the most part. Anyway, for I say thou, the grace is given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think. And this is why it's not good to get under the spell of Eve, because the spell of Eve got this behavior. You're going to adopt that same behavior, right? You got to remember, this is why they throw on all the makeup, which means to cover something that is used up. Nothing wrong with daintily making yourself look nice, being feminine. At least men like me, and most of the men are great millstone, love feminine women. And that's because we have a masculine type of stature and mindset, right? Not like those Christians. So there's nothing wrong with that. But when it gets to the point it's being done just to go to work and just to see other people, you know, and they be getting lifted up in pride, then that's not good, right? But to think soberly, according to God, who dealt to every man the measure of faith. So we're the heads, and we have to be sober, right? we have to be humble. And if you have a woman, she should be under you. All right? We can go to Titus 2. It says 2 and 3, the aged woman likewise that they be in behavior as become of holiness. See, this is all a product of Christianity. I'm sure they go to the church. All of them think they're 10s. So if you're all 10s and you're the prize, how the hell are you the prize and you're all 10s and there's less men than it is you? The rare things is more profitable, or let me say the things that are more rare, they would be considered the most popular, right? And that's what it is with the elect men. The elect men will be considered more precious, okay? But it's so many so-called ones calling themselves baddies and this and that. This is insane, man. The aged woman, likewise, that they be a behavior and becoming holy, that's not false accusers, not giving too much wine, right? Not actually just drinking, teaches of good things, that they may teach the young woman to be sober, to love their husbands, and to love their children. This is the last thing on their mind. They don't give a damn about their children, their husbands, or husbands with an S, right? This is actually going to a woman who's supposed to be with one husband, but today it's just all wild, man. If you can stay away from this, any kind of behavior like this, or you know it as a man and you go out on a date, if you want to call it that, and you see that kind of behavior and you see like 10% femininity, you got a long uphill battle. And in the truth, you really don't have time for that. I'm just saying, to each his own. But I'm just giving advice on that. Nahum 3 and 4, because of the multitudes of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, right, the mistress of witchcrafts, right, that selleth nations through their whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts. So what you're going to start seeing, you're going to see other nations kind of linking to the same thing. You see these Palestinians, the women got the head covers and the jeans and the high heels, but at least they're still feminine for the most part. But you come to Babylon, right, it's going to get ugly. Anyway, witchcrafts, sorcery, witchcraft. So when you see that Eve that says she need a 6-figure man with the mole on her face and the big face and the breasts out in the in the screen, claiming that she's a badass and she's a 10 and men can't get on her level with this light mustache she got, that's witchcraft and sorcery. You know damn well that's witchcraft and sorcery. And again, that's what this video, I'm trying to link this video in these situations, because everybody's under delusional mindset, right? Everybody's under some form of sorcery, some form of witchcraft. And even though they know they're screwed up, a lot of people know they're screwed up, these lies and demons are put on them for them to believe that this is not the case. They know it ain't like that. And then they had the other women join in, and the other women, they feel better about themselves when it comes to that. So, by making another woman look better, I don't know, man. It's just sick. They will band together because they have a hatred on Jake, But secretly, a lot of you Jakes, you really think that these Eves really do love you. Well, we've convinced in Great Millstone quite a few Jakes that was in the truth who followed IUIC, ISBK. I remember some years back, and we was talking about Eve, and they literally came on our comment board and said, yeah, y'all was telling the truth, Now, to the sincere sisters, I always say that, who believe that they're sincere and trying, well, you got to stay away from other women like that. If you want to try to remain, spiritual and do the best you can't mess with nobody like that. Remember, you still are the weaker vessel. And the weaker vessel can be compromised. If the stronger vessel can be compromised, so can the weaker vessel. Even so much more. Right? Delusion is something that is falsely and delusively believed, propagated. A psychotic belief regarding the self person, oneself, persons, or object outside of self that is maintained despite of indisputable evidence to the contrary. That pretty much is the point. Shalom.